welcome to another of the Drum Awards chair interviews. My name is Danny Gibson, digital media producer at The Drum, and today I'm joined with Dipesh Mistry, Associate Creative Director of Brave and Chair of the Judges for the Chip Shop Awards. Hi Dipesh, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, it's had a good weekend and yeah, ready to go again with all the work that's on the plate. But yeah, very well, thank you.
Cool. So today we're going to be talking about creativity and, particularly looking at how the past 12 months have affected creative output. Some think that, it's been stifled, whereas others are coming up with the best work of their lives. So over the past year, do you think there's been a bit of a roadblock on creative output, or are we actually striving right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question, isn't it? I think, personally, I think the industry is definitely striving forward.
Mhm.
There's been some memorable ideas that have been pumped out from all kinds of agencies that basically just makes you want to know, wish you'd done it before. And, you've got the big agencies out there who seem to be pumping it out and smashing out every week. You've got the Uncommons who have just done The Road to Completion, which I believe is a pornographic novel about mortgages. I
Yeah.
mean, just by saying that gets me excited. No pun intended there. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a different format and they're really speaking to their audience, which I love. It's just not another TVC, it's something physical. That's no creative block. They're thinking outside the box, which I really like. And then you've got other agencies doing it as well, all the way down to 1 minute briefs, who, I admire. They've, it's been up and down with them. I was always a bit reluctant about them. And then, there's a few shiny pennies in that crowd. And what I love about the 1 minute briefs is when you're scrolling down, you just stop on a page and you're like, wow, what is that? And you expect it coming from an agency. And then you realize it's actually someone who doesn't even work in the industry. And that's what I love. It's quite powerful when you see that. And then you've got the Kit Kat ad that was recently done
Yeah.
as well, which again, really topical. And what I love about that, it strikes a nice balance and there's a bit of tension in there as well. You could say it's a scam ad, which I kind of like as well. It's, Chip Shop Awards is, bring your scam ads to us. These ads
Yeah.
kind of question whether they've been out or not, have they ran? And that's what I quite like. So I think, creativity, it really makes you kind of wonder if it is stifled. Personally, I know the folks at Brave, Drew and I, we've had a really good year. We've used it to our advantage and
Mhm.
seen that as a challenge. There's a moment when, a lot of clients are wondering what the next phase are. But for us, you see that as a challenge. And particularly with lockdown, it gets you thinking of what ideas you can do. So, for us personally, we've had a good year and I think the industry is definitely on the up.
So I take it, obviously everyone, I think we are just coming up to short of a year now since we were initially put in lockdown. So do you think the working from home then has benefited creatives?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the person.
Hmm.
There are some people who really thrive off the human contact and being in an agency, which I love.
Hmm.
I'm definitely one of those people who needs to have that human contact to be able to bounce ideas and get that energy. But I guess I got a taste of this when I had to move to Canada. So I moved to Canada for a couple of months so I could be there with my surrogate, and who gave birth to our little boy. And then being there for 2 months, I had the flexibility from my agency Brave, who allowed me to go out there and work remotely. And I guess you could say that was almost like a rehearsal of what we didn't know was going to come around the corner. For us, I think it was great because when you're away from that agency kind of life, the benefit of working from home is you get to work at your own pace.
Yeah.
There's no distractions. Granted, there's Zoom calls, Teams, and WhatsApp, but block it out, and you've got this environment that you're working in that you're used to, and surround yourself with that kind of inspiration. And I think working from home is great. I'd like to go back to the agency at some point. I think we
Yeah.
all miss the Thursday beers. It's just that culture that we miss. But I think there are a lot of agencies who have embraced working from home.
Yeah.
There was a lot of worry and panic, and I think we've gone past that now. Agencies have figured it out.
Yeah.
People are happier now working from home, Not to say that they'll stay working from home. You know, we might come
Yeah.
back 3 days or a couple of days. But I think, yeah, a new model has come. And, you know, I think what's lovely about the industry is we've embraced it. We've embraced the
Mhm.
change. We've problem solved and we've moved forward. And as a result, creativity is definitely shining, definitely.
So then what lessons do you think we're going to take from this? I mean, obviously, there's been many agencies out there have totally they've adapted. They've done absolutely brilliantly, but then there's others that, they're still not they're they might just take a dive after this. So what kind of lessons can we take away from all of this?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's that saying, distance makes the heart go fonder. And I do believe that saying does work with, you know, it also makes creativity stronger as well. When you've got that bit of distance and space, you can really mull things over. And as I was saying before, I think the most important thing at the minute, I think we can take from this is giving people the time to think and really doing it at their own pace. The industry has a knack for asking people to work faster and harder. Whereas I'm
Yeah.
hoping now that we're all back in our own spaces, our own environments, we can slow things down. Because I think that's quite an important part of the process. It's almost like the overnight test, but you've got that at your leisure now.
Yeah.
So you know you can think of stuff and then switch off. You know, as I was saying, go for the walk, have a bath, do what you want, because that's where the best ideas come from subconsciously when you're not really thinking about. And I think that's a really, you know, good lesson to have. Like some of the best ideas have been thought of behind a desk, but a lot also have been thought of whilst people have been away from the desk. So it's finding that happy medium, I think.
Then what do you do to stay creative? What does the team at Brave do?
You know, I think what Brave have done for us is great. It's the flexibility and really keeping an eye on mental health. I think that's been quite an important thing.
Mhm.
Not over flooding people, you know, with work emails after working hours. You know, no calls before 9 o'clock. I think these little simple rules have really helped everyone, not even just the creatives. It's the account managers, you know, resource, production. I think, you know, working from home, people forgot boundaries. You know,
Yeah.
people think they can contact you all day of the hours. And I think what Brave have done to ensure, you know, that doesn't happen is, you know, put a few rules in place. So you have got your kind of working hours where people can get in touch with you. And I think as a result, with that kind of working environment, you've got happier people. You know, we are less stressful at the
Yeah.
minute. You know, there are times where you do feel stressed because of deadlines and stuff, but I think that's the best thing that I guess, you know, what Brave have done is really thought about the people, you know, the culture, making sure we're not overworked and making sure we do
Mm.
finish on time and have that respite, which I think is really important because once when we're rested and we're happy, that's when the creativity will flow.
Yeah.
And then just personally for me, I just keep myself busy with personal projects. When people were doing banana bread during lockdown, I tried and burnt many times. So I've kind of given up on banana bread. Yeah, just I guess that's one thing I can't do. But what I did do is, I guess, just keep your inspiration flowing. Like I've always
Mhm.
wanted to get, you know, into the world of art. You know, pretend I'm an artist. So I've started doing a lot of my own artwork, which I've finally got up now, which is great. Hopefully, going to be doing an exhibition soon, if lockdown allows. And then
Yeah.
just keep thinking of ideas. I guess yeah, I guess I'm my own worst enemy in the sense I probably overload myself a little bit. But for me, that's how I keep myself inspired. You know,
Mhm.
working on my next documentary. You know, what is my next art piece?
Yeah.
What's my next tweet that's going to get a bit of disruption? You know, I think it's all these little things that keep you, I guess, keep you on your toes,
Mhm.
which you then put into your work.
Obviously, when you're talking about personal projects there, that kind of nicely rolls us into the Chip Shop Awards, which you are the chair of. So thanks again for accepting that position.
Thank you.
So, obviously this competition, it's notorious for getting people to be as creative as they can. There are basically no limits to it. So do you think that's what we need right now?
Yeah, I definitely so. I think every year when the Chip Shop Awards comes around, I think there's a little sigh of relief from the industry because people can flex their creativity. You know, they can unleash hell. You know, start World War Three, World War. You know, sorry, start World War Three. It is World War Three, isn't it? I'm going off. It is. Yeah, I forgot my World Wars there.
Yeah.
um, Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely when Chip Shop Awards comes around, there's definitely a sigh of relief from the industry. You know, it's the one awards where people can really stretch their creativity. They can have an idea that starts World War III. They can have an idea which, you know, makes someone really nervous, and you just know the client would never buy.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. It's controversial, and you know that's the DNA of the Chip Shop Awards. But you know, we have to kind of find the right kind of controversy.
Hmm.
You know, over the past years, you could argue there's been some ideas that are trying to be controversial for the sake of it,
Hmm.
and as a result, they're not really smart. You know, it makes you question: is this really what these awards are about?
Yeah.
Which they're not. You know, and I think that's the joy of the chip shop is finding that right level of controversy.
Have you got any particular ones from the past that you really love?
Yeah, I have. I don't know if you want to use this one, but yeah, because it's quite dark. I mean, yeah, I mean, one of my all-time favorites one was the TFL advert. It's notoriously dark, but I guess what I love about that campaign is it makes you see two sides of the story.
Hmm.
When you look at a chair falling and you know what it's pointing towards, the subject isn't light. It's quite dark, and for some people it's too much, but for others it actually strikes the right balance because
Hmm.
it makes you think about the other person on the end of what's happened.
Yeah.
If you're not, oh, yeah, I didn't want to describe it too much, but for me that has always been my benchmark because it divides the room. You know, the TFL ad, you know, some people can look at it and go, that's a bit too far, but the others will kind of see the balance in it, the controversy in it. You know, it's done well. And for me, it's one of those campaigns where if it ran, I think it would really hit home and get the message across to people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would take one hell of a brave client to run that because it
Hmm.
will, it just cuts down the middle. You're not gonna please everyone with that campaign, but that's been one of my favorites. And to more recent years, the Netflix spoiler billboard, it's just a gem of an idea, and
Yeah.
rightfully won the Grand Prix last year. It's one of those ideas that's gonna make a lot of people angry because of the nature of it,
Yeah.
but also it's smart. It's smart media placement. It's full of tension and it's controversial for the right reasons.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm going with this year. I think it's finding the right kind of wrong,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to find this year. Really, I love that campaign, and rightfully deserve to be the jury's award.
Yeah. No, you're totally right there. I think there's some people think that with the chip shop you just have to be absolutely outrageous and controversial, whereas if you're smart about the creative and you're being smart for like the TFL one, you're saying, yes, it's a very delicate subject, but if you smart creative will ultimately make these campaigns work.
Exactly, and I think that that's where I kind of want to go this year. We're all
Yeah.
smart problem thinkers. I want people to be smarter this year.
Yeah.
Question yourself. Is it right to do another Madeleine McCann execution? Is it right to make a joke out about someone's mental health or the way they look? It probably not. Is it right to have a dig at Donald Trump? Yes, because he's probably the one guy who deserves it. So it's about focusing that energy and controversy in the right place.
What are your expectations for the entries this year? Obviously, you also get the chair award as well. You get to pick your personal favorite. But what are you expecting to see from the entries, or what do you hope to see?
I think it's simple for me. I just want to see smarter thinking. I want people to think smarter, use controversy for good,
Yeah.
and find the right kind of wrong. That's what the chip shop is all about. It's the right kind of wrong.
And that's us. That's our questions for today. Thanks, Dipesh, for uh, joining me today. The Chip Shop Awards, that is what we're about, smart, creative, original thinking. And thank you, the audience, for joining us. If you do want to have your go at the Chip Shop Awards, head on over to www.chipshopawards.com. And you can also follow us on social media with the hashtag the Drum Awards. So all I've got to say now is goodbye.
Right.